Welcome back to Feel the Drive, and today we are working on the Z3 rear brakes and front brake. So first let's go ahead and take the wheel off. This comprises of 5 17mm bolts. Jack the car up once you've loosened the bolt, and then take the bolt out of the wheel. Now with the tyre removed, you can access the brakes. First, prise the clip off, and then take the plastic covers off the back of the calipers. Then use a flathead screwdriver to push the piston back into the caliper. As you can see here, I don't quite know how to do it, but I end up figuring it out. This is so when you put the pads back on, you can fit the caliper over the disc. There we go. Next, use a 7mm Allen key to undo 2 bolts either side of the caliper. These should then come out of their rubber casing. Hang your caliper with a hook so you don't damage the brake hose. Then use a 16mm socket to remove 2 bolts at the top and bottom of the carrier. Okay, carrier off. That's good easy. Then use one of these tools that Tony has to remove the Allen head from the disc. Here are the new calipers. Today we're putting on Brembos because generally they are very good. I did have Padgets on and I wasn't impressed with the pads. Next, clean the carriers. It's probably been a while since they've been cleaned, so use a wire brush and brush off all of the dust that's collected. This will also mean that the brakes will fit better together and they'll slide in properly. That is now a lot better than it was. Not perfect, but yeah, much better. Get the pads and check that they slide freely in the carrier. It's a good idea to copper grease all of the areas that are going to be moving. Next, put the new disc on. And reverse order to put them back on. Now, as these are the rear brakes, we have to do the handbrake, which consists of a spring and a cog, and you flip the cog upwards to tighten it and downwards to loosen it, and I'm having trouble finding it. I've called Tony over because he knows what he's doing and I don't.
Poking in the dark. I couldn't possibly comment. Camera's this side. I definitely saw the spring, so.
If you look there, you can see the tooth on the adjuster.
I'm just looking in the wrong hole.
Straight through that one there.
You want more the level cut position.
Yeah, see it.
Okay. Put your screwdriver in, feel for that, and just
Okay.
push it down one at a time.
Once tight and the disc doesn't move, loosen it up by tapping it with a hammer around the edge of the brake disc. Just moving freely, tighten it up a couple more. Next, place your pad back in a caliper, making sure that you've got them the right way round, with the padded part facing inwards, as that's what's going to press against the disc. It's easier to put the inside one on first with the pegs, and then put the other one on afterwards. Now these pegs can be a little bit difficult to get in, but they do go in. Next, slide the brake pad hooks onto the ledge of the carrier, and make sure it all fits nicely. For the BMW Z3, it has the brake pad wear sensor on the front left and rear right hand side of the car, so make sure you attach that when putting the brakes back together. Now you can do up the 7mm studs. And you can put the clip back in. This is quite pesky. It takes quite a few tries to try and get it lined up and put into place. There's a lot of elastic energy in it, let's say. But don't be afraid that it's going to break, because this will just kind of ping off rather than snap. For something that looks so fragile, it is quite robust. Come on, I got it on the last one. And follow the same for the front brakes. You don't need to do anything with the handbrake cable because there's no handbrake at the front. But as you can see, these are the old ones for the 1.9. They are a solid disc. I've now swapped them for bigger brakes from a 2.2 BMW Z3 with vented discs. And I've painted them red because red is fast.
Every time we've always thought French food was shit.
Next, put the wheel back on and hand tighten the bolts following a star pattern. So put one in, skip one, do the next one, skip one, do the next one, skip one. This is so that they kind of tighten in a uniform manner and one side isn't being tightened more than another. Lower the jack and use a torque wrench to correctly torque your wheel nuts. These bigger brakes should now last longer on track and provide more stopping power so we can go faster. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.
When